The Draft Network has released an NFL mock draft for 2024, so I am here to review it. What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today I'm going to be breaking down this mock draft. Of course, when TDN drops one, I gotta go and comment on it. I did just get back from vacation, so you guys have been awesome in supporting me through that. I have a lot of really cool videos I put up there, including a lot of top 10 rankings, top 15 even, that are definitely unlike anybody else's list, but it's going to continue evolving as time goes on. It's going to play a role in this. This right here below my face is still being updated, but it is actually fairly damn accurate. I just have to add a couple more players to get up towards the top because I fell in love with quite a few, but this is, as of probably a week or a week and a half ago, fully updated. So let's get right into this. And we're going to be getting to more and more content again. Just got back from a vacay, so I assume this is going to be based on Super Bowl odds. Understandable. Cardinals going Caleb Williams. I think they're going to end up trading out if this is the situation, then getting the shop. You know, they might be able to get 5 full drafts at this point. God only knows how much Caleb Williams is worth. I think that guy is spectacular. I think he's by far the best quarterback in the class. And I think that just that playmaking ability really is Patrick Mahomes-esque. And we've used that term quite a bit, but this is the first time where I really felt like this was one of those guys. Then you got Tampa Bay via Arizona and Houston. So I assume there is a trade. All right. Well, now, okay. Well, all right. You know, for me personally, I would see how much you can get for Caleb Williams. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'll get a good amount of money for, or a good amount of capital for Drake May. I'd personally trade the hell out of here. Let the team like Tampa Bay take Caleb Williams, get multiple years worth of draft capital, and then, you know, get Marvin Harrison Jr. See what happens there. But I mean, I get it. If some people just want to get the quarterback position, those are, if you hit on it, those guys are invaluable. But Drake May is QB2. I have him as QB3/4. I just have some guys who I end up loving a little bit more. And there's nothing wrong with that. Drake May can still ascend by far. He could end up being the number 2 quarterback. And just based on his play last year, which was his first year starting, wasn't as huge of a fan of him as I hoped for. And honestly, I'm very excited to be proven wrong. That's the God honest truth. And he goes Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. If Marvin Harrison's kid's on the board, I would say there is no way in hell that they're going to be going after a tackle. But if Marvin is not on the board, tackle is a good way to go. Then, of course, as I said, you should probably trade with Tampa Bay and get Marvin Harrison Jr. They apparently get both, which doesn't seem right. But, you know, let's continue the narrative. Tennessee Titans going Jared Verse. I don't know if they need to go after an edge this early. I wouldn't be against it by any stretch of the imagination. I think Jared Verse is an excellent player. I think that well, you guys get to see. He's my number 7 player in the draft. But for me, if I'm sitting here at number 5 and I'm the Titans, I'd personally be trying to look at something where it's not a position of need by any stretch of the imagination, but you could end up looking at Brock Bowers and using him as a receiver. You could end up looking at Joe Alt and say, hey, Peter Skoronski, kick to the guard spot. Andre Dillard, I know we just paid you, but like, let's kick you to guard. Obviously, it's not that much money for Andre Dillard. So there's obvious uses for an offensive lineman on this team. But, you know, Jared Verse, far from a bad selection. Rams going Quinn Ewers. I think they'll end up going QB after Matt Stafford retires this year. Glad to see more people are opening up to the idea that the Rams are not nearly as good as what people were saying when I said the Rams might be the worst team in the NFL. Joe Milton to the Raiders is a guy that I have gone myself, so I am not going to complain whatsoever. This is not a shock pick. I think Joe Milton is the second best QB in the class. That is a shock pick. And I think the Raiders could definitely be in rebuild mode. A guy who can throw 90 yards. Not a bad guy to start out with. He's big. He actually has a really accurate arm too, especially for how powerful it is. I think he just needs more time, more reps, and that's exactly what's going to happen this year. Do not be surprised if Joe Milton is the second quarterback off the board. Commanders then going Brock Bowers is the perfect selection for them. I would say maybe look at Joe Alt as well, but Brock Bowers, excellent. Chicago Bears going Emeka Egbuka. Not going to complain either. You're probably going to lose out on Chase Claypool. So thank you for Joey Porter Jr., by the way, Bears. But, you know, this is still going to be an excellent selection. Excellent selection. Then the Bears go Chop Robinson. I'm not a fan of Chop. I understand that there's a lot of tools there for him, but I don't really know if he's close enough to where those tools would be applicable in the NFL. I think you need to go to a place where he's going to be a lot better developed. So Chop Robinson, definitely a good player. Just I have him more as a fourth rounder, like an early day 3 guy at the moment. Definitely could be ascending into that day 2, if not day 1 range, if he ends up having a quicker growth spurt than I expected. But again, just like not necessarily the biggest fans. So next we got Amarius Mims to the Patriots. I think that's an excellent move. He is a top, where is he at? Top 14 player for me on my board. Making sure you guys can see what I can see. Amarius Mims is a very talented player. He's only had 2 games starting, if I'm not mistaken, and he balled out in both of them. So good for him. And that was against high-end talent versus Ohio State in his first one. So the dude's been able to perform without having to deal, or without pretty much having an easy entry to college football. So good for him. Great job by Amarius Mims against the best of the best talent. Then you got the Falcons going Jack Sawyer. So we got another big stretch here. I don't think Jack Sawyer is that good. This is a guy who I don't trust whatsoever to process on the field. It's very unfortunate. I mean, you know me, I'm an Ohio State fan. I want to watch and love all of these players. I don't like Jack Sawyer that much. And he really kind of knows one move, which is a bull rush. And then he's kind of like flashed a spin move here and there. He's most famous for, well, based on my evaluations, the people who think he's the best will definitely be poking at that Penn State game, that right tackle in Penn State. I mean, I feel like I could do as good of a job as that guy. And I am probably 150 pounds lighter than him. Jack Sawyer ate him up for lunch, but he couldn't even do a spin move versus Brock Bowers. And I'm going to continuously bring up that game because I think that game is as close as you're going to get to replicable NFL reps. And, he just didn't do very well that game. He got faked out plenty of times when he had a clear shot to the ball, just did not process on the field the way he should have, which could change. But, I mean, he doesn't have that innate ability. Jeremiah Trotter to the Steelers does feel like something that could be happening. I'd hope for us to go after a right tackle, but, I'm not going to complain at all about getting a top-tier linebacker out of Clemson and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Broncos going SVPG out of Georgia. He's a very talented interior offensive lineman, probably is going to be a center, but, Dalton Reisner is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken, and you could end up continuing to build the O-line. That's what Sean Payton did. I think they can definitely continue doing that here in Denver. Giants going Johnny Wilson. Not going to spoil anything, but I think this is a great pick, and I might have made it myself in another mock draft I did. He's 240 pounds now, by the way. I think he should be a top 5 selection, probably. I think he's going to be one of those special guys. One of the things that I have not yet put into my rankings is how much I love Johnny Wilson. Then you got the Green Bay Packers going Joe Alt. I think him being here is ridiculous, but you know what? It's not out of the question. He is not the best athlete on planet Earth. All right, then you got the Texans going Kool-Aid McKinstry, best DB in the class. I think that he is super duper special. I think he should be going also in the top 5 to 10. Really good player. Then you got J.C. Latham to the Dolphins. I'm going to scroll down so y'all get a little bit more on my board. J.C., I think there's a big work ethic issue. I think that there were a lot of plays he gave up early and put Bryce in a lot of danger. To me, I don't like that, and he's extremely raw. Not a fan of dropping that into a system where the quarterback is injury prone. I'd rather do that for a quarterback that has really good pocket awareness and would, limit the amount of issues JC is going to have in the short run in his career. We'll see what happens. So over the year, definitely could end up switching it back around. Donovan Jackson for the Saints. I think interior offensive line is not a bad idea whatsoever. And, investing in the O-line, Donovan Jackson could eventually even be a tackle. So we'll see what happens there. Vikings going JT. They're definitely looking for one more edge rusher at this point because of the fact they don't have Zadarius Smith anymore. And they have Davenport, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they have pretty much a 1-year lease on a freak player. I don't like JT Tuimoloau. Just going to be completely honest. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he was special for one game against, Olu Fashanu here and there, but also he kind of feasted on that right tackle that I was talking about that couldn't hold up to Jack Sawyer, who went ahead of this. So if you think Jack Sawyer is better, maybe it doesn't limit the achievements of JT Tuimoloau. I think edge is a good idea for the Vikings, but maybe not JT Tuimoloau. Seahawks going Christian Mahogany. I don't think they need guard this badly whatsoever. They ended up getting Anthony Bradford out of LSU, and I believe the 4th or 5th round. They got Lusagun Oluwatimi as well. I think if you want to go after one in round 2, just because the value is right, that's perfectly fine. But I don't think that you need to address getting a guard. I love Christian Mahogany. Where is he on mine? He is at 42 on my board at the moment. Of course, that is subject to change when I move around some wide receivers. But still a very, very talented player. He's not bad whatsoever. I just don't think the Seahawks need it. Of course, they don't need very much. Tylee Williams is awesome. I just studied him today. He's probably going to be slotted in around the 20 to 25 mark for me. A dude's a freak, and apparently he's added 15 pounds of weight as well, and he's already really talented. I think he needs to be a little bit more decisive, and I think that's a key of a lot of these interior defensive linemen. They're not just going out there and getting it. You can see the hesitation in their mind trying to do the right thing rather than just naturally going and piecing it together as the play develops. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I think that this is definitely a need for the Chargers. I think this is a guy who has unbelievable potential, and putting him in an environment with guys like Joey Bosa would be an excellent move. Jason Marshall for the Jaguars. Don't think they necessarily need this, but I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. Jason Marshall is almost 200 pounds at 6'2", and he's had a very good bout against guys who are much larger than him, or much larger in terms of physical presence. So I'm glad to see guys like Brew McCoy, who actually he's also 20 pounds heavier. That was the big matchup I wanted to see. And Brew McCoy, it was a good matchup, but Jason Marshall showed out that he's a very, very talented corner. Brew McCoy also a very talented receiver. Ravens going Denzel Burke. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be a really good player. Ravens would be a top tier destination for him. Kalen King to the Lions. I'd love that too. Obviously, you guys know Kalen is my number 9 player in the draft class, and I do think a corner 1 is more necessary than what people might be saying. Then you got Patrick Paul at a Houston tackle for the Jets. I'm going to be honest, I have yet to study Patrick Paul, and it's a great reminder that, even though I've already studied 10 to 20 tackles, I think it's closer to the 20 mark at this point. There's still guys, like I even got a comment the other day talking about the backup right tackle from Oklahoma. Ended up watching him, and I was like, holy crap, this guy has some talent. Well, needs a lot of refinement. So I'm forgetting the kid's name off the top of my head, but he's number 60. Right tackle. We ended off the year for him too. But Patrick Paul, not one that I have seen. So, cool idea. I think the Jets going after offensive tackle, not a bad idea. And, as much as I want Max Mitchell to succeed, I don't think there's a world where you can take a tackle and Max Mitchell not succeed. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. That's what I meant. Cowboys going Malik Neighbors does feel kind of like a receiver that they would go after. They've already went to LSU for guys who I don't enormously like. So, that's obviously their corner there in Kendall. It's not Kendall Joseph, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Kelvin. So I think Cowboys could end up going after another receiver, getting a little more spice, but I'd personally try to go after a tight end. Bengals going Kalen Bullock. I feel like I would rather be going after a much larger presence. Even though you got Jordan Battle, I'd rather go after James Williams over a more of a ball hawk like Kalen, because I feel like that would be a little redundant with DJ Turner as well as Daxton Hill. I'd probably be looking at the defensive interior. Maybe the corner room could always use some extra juice here and there. Offensive line, you could always use a tackle here and there as well. Tight end. There's better ideas. Jordan Morgan, left tackle out of Arizona. I'm not sure if he's moving to the right. Ended up getting, I believe, an ACL tear to end off the year last year. Very unfortunate. Good player. Just he didn't break my top 10, which is very unfortunate because I like Jordan Morgan. Then you got Tommy Eichenberg here to the Bills. I love Tommy Eichenberg. I think the linebacker is a great selection. But, I am kind of hoping that Dorian Williams ends up stepping up and being a very good player as well. And then they also, who's that kid from Baylor who I actually really liked? They have another guy right now out of Baylor who's a very talented player. Then you got the Eagles going Xavier Worthy. He's going to be a wide receiver 3 deep threat, so it's going to replace Quez. A little bit smaller, though. I don't know how I feel about pretty much 2 Slim Reapers being on the roster, but still a very talented player. I would not be against it. KC going Mason Smith is very intriguing because he's going to be a defensive interior, but he's only played edge reps, if I'm not mistaken, or he has played edge reps. Played 1 rep last year, ended up tearing his ACL on it. So you kind of have to go off 2021 tape. I I personally don't like going and watching a player before a big injury like that. I want to see who they are after. So this is a TBD rating for here. But overall, nothing egregious whatsoever. I mean, there's some guys in here I don't like. There's like two guys I think I didn't know. And I've studied quite a bit of people at this moment, but still some really cool ideas here. Obviously, you're seeing guys like Johnny Wilson being respected the way that they should be. But guys like Jack Sawyer, who haven't proven anything, Chop Robinson similarly. Obviously, we're in the point where this is going to be completely different in 6 months' time. But we're trying our best to get ahead of the curve. And, that's what we do. We try our best. So thank you so much for watching and supporting me as always. See you guys on the far side. Peace.